Hello. I can stand. Whatever. Hello. It is June 18th, 2023. Just watched a video talking about how this Gen Z era has not even but detrimentally so stunted compared to older generations. And I find it really interesting as we're for real like the first generation to grow up with such an abundance in technology, and where we kind of started off as a generation as like quote unquote normal, like by old standards, like literally like outside play, yada yada yada, like no constant stimulation. And then randomly when like say to age 10 and onwards, we started getting this constant stimulation of like YouTube, texting, fucking unrestricted access to porn, yada yada yada. And there wasn't really any pressing concerns at the time because it was so new and we were just very like susceptible to it, like just like go. Like I remember like just having like the unrestricted internet access is crazy, and like it really gets you into this hedonistic cycle of just fucking consume. And like that makes me feel sad for our generation, and it still presses on. Like it's such a normal thing for everyone to just fucking be like, you know, like fucking go get those likes, get it, like just keep scrolling, keep consuming all this content. But it's like, what are we really doing in creating with each other? And like, are we truly living? Like, you know, like it's so weird. And I see it, like our generation is so antisocial to the point where I see that it's a norm that people look at each other and think this hostile mindset. Like it's like, bitch, like why the fuck are you looking at me? Like it's literally just a person looking at you. And we don't do these community actions with each other, or there's no sense of community and no sense of the self, which is good but bad in the sense that we don't have a sense of self, where we kind of latch, but not in like the spiritual no sense of self. But yeah. And the video sparked thought about how going to university, like specifically like institutes that are state or UCs or private institutes, as opposed to like community college, or community college / trade / nothing. Like you're really paying to be in these social settings with people our age, where we have this sense of community and sense of belonging because everyone's in the same boat, and we're forced to be exposed into those situations. But it's very double-sided, like a double-sided sword, in the sense that you're paying for that. You're paying just for that social interaction, which it's fucked up. Like that's not accessible to everyone, and you're not really, it's inaccessible, and it gatekeeps it to people that are able to afford those institutes, or you're fucking digging yourself into a hole with student loans or whatever. And it's upsetting. But in these trades / community colleges or whatever, you realize that everyone's fucking older than you, and it's much more harder to delve yourselves into these communities where, like, you can't be able to connect with them necessarily because of your age, and it's a much bigger barrier to break, and it's frustrating. It's like, I don't think that it should be like this, but it's built like this on purpose because of fucking consumerism and like the gains that is to be made. Like, I feel like institutes and shit like that, like systems in place like that, they only really see us as capital gain and something to monopolize over, where we're just the consumers. And, you know, it's fucked up. Like, I think there needs to be a whole cultural shift where people are changing this stigma and changing this whole system, where our generation is built to consume. Like, fucking just consume all these products, consume all this content, consume. And we're not doing anything. Like, it's upsetting. It's like, where the fuck is the drive? We have the drive, but we're putting it into consuming so much. And we're not necessarily building relationships with people. We're not creating things to share. We're not creating things to pursue knowledge or anything, or to better ourselves. It's just consume. And society really has built systems around that to support it. Like how many fucking trends are we following where it's like a week-long trend and we're just consuming? Or like, oh my god, the new yada yada yada, so consume. Like, I gotta buy that, I gotta fucking, cause some celebrity, like, it's like, and I want this generation to be able to liberate themselves from that and go out there to experience the things that should be experienced. Like, we chain ourselves to these comfortable positions and routines of consumption, or just not necessarily taking initiative. And we've kind of, like, my generation has stunted themselves in that, because we're not going out to get these experiences, when in reality we should be pushing to gain these experiences. But also culturally, in society, it's so much more harder, at least in my mind, or in my, like, what I view, that to get these experiences you have to really, like, have the effort, because it's not the social norm anymore, and it's not something that us as a generation is doing. So you have to really do that push and take the jump to do it. Yeah, I just, like, the effort to stop this hedonistic cycle and to stop this consumerist cycle is such a, like, important thing that I feel like is sickening this generation, where like, people are very much so opting out to just be comfortable, just to fucking, like, you know, like, And I mean, okay for them, but is that really the best thing for you? Like, I want to see this generation flourish, and I want to see where, because we're genuinely the generation that can do change, because we have so much accessibility to information, to all these resources online where we can gather that information and take that and apply it to life experiences, or to push change, to push new innovations. There's so much, but with social media, consumerism, fucking video games, yada yada yada, like, it's so fucked. And like, social media puts such a stress and such an importance on these social comparisons where we're like, like, social media literally wires you to have this social hierarchy where you're trying to keep up, because biologically, like, we're grown to kind of match our communities. But since our communities are online and it's very echo chamber, it's only projecting like shit to keep up. Like of course, and like we follow celebrities and shit, but of course that's not our true community. Like, fucking, let's see, Kendall Jenner isn't in fucking Fairfield in like my everyday social circle, which I feel like is an important thing to do, is to keep it very local, or to not even really look at it at all, because your community is the people you talk to, and everything else is like, fuck off. Or like, even that, it's like, just fuck off. Like, the only thing that matters is yourself, the improvement of the self, and what you're doing to help improve others. And yeah, also social media, I feel like it projects way too much negativity, where it kind of gets people sucked into it, and then it fucking echo chambers, where it creates a culture of a normalized self pity talk, what's it called, self deteriorating, I don't think deteriorating is the word, self depreciating talk, and it literally poisons the self and rewires people's brains to kind of operate in this negative self talk. And it's just like, oh my god, like, yada yada yada, fuck this, like, I'm so, like, why can't I be like them, yada yada yada. And then that also pairs like really well with the fucking consumerist system, where you're just buying or consuming to just numb that pain or discomfort that you're feeling from them, when in reality, like, just remove yourself from that situation and do something about it. Like, oh my god, another tangent. It's like, society nowadays is so comfortable with numbing themselves and not feeling the present moment and the present emotions that they have, and that shit just compounds. It's gonna fester within you. An analogy I heard was holding on and not feeling those negative emotions and trying to push it away. It's like getting an infection. If you don't treat it right away, the fucking like, say I got an infection in my hand, like a cut. So that cut is infected. If I don't treat it right away, it's gonna fester until, if I don't treat it at all, it's just gonna fucking, like, not catharsize. Fuck. I don't know. It's gonna make my arm like all unusable, all infected and shit, and it's gonna amputate it. But if you treat it in the very moment that you get that cut, and you recognize it and treat it, like, it's gonna be okay. But yeah, that's my little rant. Okay. Yeah. Thank you. I love you. I'm just dumping my brain. Happy Father's Day. Yeah. Thank you. Smell you later. I love you.